Monday, February 6, 2023. We could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, April, will you please let the record show that Michelle is still out with her knee rehabilitation, and the rest of us are all present. I want to move on to the approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to the approval of the agenda. I do have one addition. It's the consideration to raise the building inspector's pay from $35 to $45. And we talked about that, and we just didn't get that motion done. So I'd like to add that to N. Please.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended, adding building inspector inspection fee modification as item number N.
I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're moving on to announcements and communications. Anybody have anything they'd like to talk about tonight?
You might want to make a mention that we're wrapping up tax season, so if you have not paid your taxes, the last day to pay without penalty is February 14th. We do not turn it over to the county till March 1st, but the minute we turn it over to the county, remember it's 5% plus 1%, and if you didn't pay your summer taxes, it's an additional 6%. So get in and pay your taxes. We're happy to see you. We have a drop box. You can put it through the United States Postal Service, but get them in and get them paid by February 14th so you can avoid any penalty or interest.
Okay. After that cheery news, anyone else? All right, seeing none, we're going to close announcements. We're going to move to call to the public. This is when you can come up to the microphone, talk about non-agenda related items. We do want you to keep this to 3 minutes, please. The board makes no comments, but we take everything in consideration. And we need your name and address for the record.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Katie Michalski, 7827 Spring Trace Road in Brighton. I'm here tonight representing U.S. Representative Alyssa Slotkin, and as the Congresswoman begins her third term in office, she is new to this portion of the district. It's the new 7th Congressional District within Michigan. It includes Lyon Township, a large portion of Milford Township, as well as South Lyon. So I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. I am the field representative. I am available for any meetings, questions to the Congresswoman, and also that I am available to represent her in any way for ribbon cuttings within businesses if she's not available to attend. I'm available for any questions around federal grants or how we can help you. To our constituents in this area, we're also available for any federal related issues or concerns related to any federal agency, IRS, CMS, VA, Veterans Affairs, issues and concerns. We're always available to help. Again, the Congresswoman does often come in district, and I would very much like to have an introduction to the board here, and if we can arrange it, I can work with you, Supervisor Dolan, be happy to do that. I will follow it up with an email to all of you so that you have my contact information. And again, I just wanted to put a face to the Congresswoman. And again, I just thank you for your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, anyone else like to come up? Okay, seeing none, we're going to close call to the public. We're going to move on to reports. First report is DDA. Amy?
Hello, everyone.
Hello. How you doing?
I included in your packet a director report and also attached a copy of the updated 2023 event schedule for the DDA. So you'll see, again, we're doing the Music on the Grand events. We'll be doing the Scarecrows on the Grand, the History Walking Tour, our Trunk or Treating event, and Lighting Up the Grand. We do have some new events coming up this year. Get Fit on the Grand, which will be once a month fitness program aimed at families. We'll be working with some local gyms and instructors to offer a 2-hour time frame of fitness exercises and nutrition classes. And then we're also going to be working with our local Lowe's to offer a Touch a Truck event that will take place on the Lowe's property. We've got quite a few businesses that are going to be getting involved with that too. So look for more information as we get closer. More detailed information is on the DDA website again too. And I'm proud to announce that we do have a presenting sponsor for all of our concerts this summer. So we've already got those all booked, which we're very excited about. And let's see. Then I also wanted to let you know we did some year-end wrap numbers. So last year, between new investment, additional, and alteration construction value within the DDA boundaries, we had over $50 million invested. We had over $18,500 that was raised for sponsorships for our promotion events for the DDA last year. We had 12 new businesses open. And one thing that we're extremely proud of is we had over 947 total volunteer hours between all of our committee members, volunteers for projects, committee meetings, and then we had over 44 DDA businesses and 25 outside businesses participate in some sort of sponsorship, involvement in projects, or attending meetings. So we had a really good activation for last year. I recently attended the SEMCOG Regional Forecast Open House event. They went over their draft 2050 presentation for the expected numbers. I wanted to give you a few highlights on that meeting and let you know that the finalized report will be available probably by the end of March. But they are projecting by 2050 that Lyon Township will again almost double in population. So they're expecting that. A few things that we found really interesting were in 2028, they're expecting the birth rate will fall below the death rate, so that we'll get a more aging population in the area. The school populations will continue to decline. Fastest growing workforce population will be ages 55 and plus. So they're looking at that. The biggest job growth that they're projecting in the area will be technical, professional services, and also the healthcare industry. They're expecting manufacturing jobs to increase until 2030 and then start to decline in that area. And then they're expecting the retail to trend down, but the warehouse and transportation industries to increase in the area. So those were just some of the highlights in there that I wanted to share with you. But that full report, I do have the draft copy of it available if anybody wants that, or they do have it available on the SEMCOG website. And then lastly, I wanted to let you know about a few ribbon cutting events that we do have coming up, scheduled tentatively for Friday, March 3rd, and I will be emailing specific invitations to everybody, but right now we're looking from 2 to 4 on that day, a grand opening ribbon cutting for Amelia May Vintage and Upcycle Boutique, which is located at 56200 Grand River, right on that corner of the Ring Road by Grand River and Lion Center Drive. And also on that day from 5 to 7, we're going to be doing a ribbon cutting grand opening event for V's School of Dance, which is located out on Pontiac Trail. And they're also going to have a performance from their dancers. So everybody will be invited to that. So thank you, everybody. Are there any questions for me?
Well, thank you, Amy.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to move on to fire. Chief?
Good evening. Following the millage approval, we're moving forward with our plan of bringing on more firefighters. We're currently looking at 4 firefighters and filling 1 captain's vacancy. And in mid-February, we've started the interview process already. We have 3 internal candidates that we're going to bring on board, Ronald Young, Oliver Sturos, and Brendan Hall. And the fourth candidate will be from outside. We're still compiling the applications, and we think we've got 5 good applicants for one position. So whether that will be done by the March meeting, I'm not sure, but my plan is to bring forth at least the 3 new firefighters to get them sworn in at the March 6th meeting. And I'd also like to announce, too, that we did have a captain vacancy that suddenly opened up, and my plan is to fill that with somebody that's been with our department for many years, lives in town, and has been instrumental since the whole COVID thing started, with filling shifts and just being there. And that's Kelly Blades that I want to bring on as captain. And again, that would be part of the March 6th swearing in as well during that meeting. And that's basically it.
Well, I want to say, Chief, you and I have talked about these 4 firefighters, and I am so commendable of hiring within. A lot of times we put it out and we say, okay, let's go ahead and we'll get put out for captains, and we get outsiders in. They come in and they don't really care about our township as much as some of the inside people that actually live here. I'm going to tell you, I don't think there's a better choice for your captain than Kelly Blades, and I'll say that because through thick and thin, that man has served this township. When you needed people, and I've been part of it, you've been telling me that, when there's times that no one would show up, he was right there. You promoted him, he teaches classes. I am very super happy that you promoted him like you did. And I'm happy also with the other 3 that came out of our service. If we can bring them out of our service, I don't think there's a better way you could do it.
Yeah.
And I just love that you did that. So
Thank you. I think our future's looking pretty good.
Sounds like a good plan, Chief.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, we're moving on. Lieutenant.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I have a couple of quick updates. Once again, on April 22nd from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m., we will be partnering with the DEA for their annual prescription drug take-back program. All that we ask is that all liquids must be sealed, no aerosols, needles, and we don't ask any questions. Now, how this is different from what we normally do is normally it's open Monday through Friday from 7 a until 3 p. But these events are typically held on Saturday, and they're open for anyone, not just Lyon Township residents. So anyone that this message reaches can bring those drugs in. We'll take them, no questions. Next order of business is Oakland County. We have some technological advancements. We now have a facial recognition analyst on site. So for all the incidents that we've had in the past that we just had video present, we can now send that to the state police and utilize their database with our analyst to maybe catch some of these people. And that concludes my report. Any questions?
Great, that sounds good.
Thank you.
Moving on to Planning Commission.
Okay. We did have 2 meetings in January, but unfortunately I was very sick in the month of January and some of December, so I did not attend the January 9th, but I did attend the January 23rd. And on that agenda, we had a public hearing for the AT&T fixed generator addition right up here at in our township park. And we approved that and recommended it to the township board. We had no old business. New business, we had an extension approval for the Lyon Medical Center, which is also right next here to the township offices, and that was approved for an extension. And we had the accessory structure amendments, text amendments, and we also agreed to have and hold a public hearing for that, but we also had a discussion over it. And then we also had this permitted use table text amendment, and this was a pretty intense document, so the township, or the Planning Commission, it was a lot of information to go over, so we agreed to table it we needed more time to review it, but it's pretty cool what they presented, Brian and Andrew did. I think Andrew did it. You guys did it together, so it was pretty cool. So that concludes my report for the 23rd. If you have anything, Brian, for the 9th, I'm sorry I wasn't there.
I don't. The only thing that came out of that meeting on the 9th was Aspen Trails, which is on your agenda this evening. The only other thing that I'd add, Patty, is, and I apologize, we'll try to get this in advance of a meeting next year, but on your desk today, and we'll make it available for dissemination, is the Planning Commission's annual report, which is something that we're required to do by the Planning Enabling Act for the Planning Commission to submit this to the Township Board. In the past, it's been substituted by kind of monthly reporting, and we're going to go with the annual report format that you see in front of you. So if you have any questions on that after you've had a chance to review it, just let me know. Happy to help out.
Get everyone here. Okay, we do. I could
Sorry.
Talk, if we can talk closer to the mics, it'd be better. Okay, Brian, you want to talk?
Let's start that one.
All right, we're going to move on to the ZBA. Louise?
The
Is it gonna be
ZBA
fast?
meeting, what's that?
It's going to be fast?
It is. Canceled in January, canceled in February.
It's fast. Boy, you never have anything to say, do you?
My
right.
husband would disagree.
All right, we're going to move on to the building. Dave?
Okay, so I have a few numbers to bore you with here.
Hey, Dave, see if that microphone, if you can pull that up. Is it on? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's not plugged in. Can you hear me now?
Unplug?
That's weird. The green light's on. I think it was. I thought I heard it.
Build houses, you can get that plug.
Talk loud, Dave.
Okay, so our numbers, you guys can hear me, everybody want to hear me? Okay, good. So we had 27 residential permits this, in December. These numbers are from December. 16 of those were residential new single-family homes. We had a total of 800 inspections for all the building inspectors. Total permits was 158. That includes all the MEPs. So we had on the back page of your guys, or second to the last page, it shows we have a month-to-month from 2022 and 2021, the comparisons. And last year, or the year before, in 2021, we did pretty good with 162 new residential homes, people moving in. And this year, we kind of, to my surprise, it was 287, so which is a pretty big number for us. And everything's been going good. The value of the township in 2022 was $40,928,000 was the increase in the value. So those are some pretty big numbers. And to my surprise, it's still going pretty good. You know, even though interest rates are, I see they've come down now a little bit. So hopefully we're going to have a better year than was predicted. So other than that, that's about it. Any questions?
Anybody want to?
Do you know, Dave, on that second to last page, the difference between the C of Os and the new single-family residential, is that from the apartments, presumably?
For the year?
Yeah, for the year, because you've got 287 on C of Os, but 243
Yeah,
on...
so some of the residentials on there would be...
So that's like from...
no, those are all single family. Those went, right, PJ?
You're talking certificate of occupancy?
Yeah.
Some of those are commercial.
Oh, okay. So that's a
Oh, so
blend
some of those would be then, okay.
So
Which
that's
would be in the apartments.
Okay.
Which are pretty much almost completed now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for Dave? All right, now we're going to move on to water, and I have nothing new to say. The Eagle has put us on hold again. A trustee, one of the trustees, have inquired and kind of upset them a little bit, and we had the approval in our fingertips, and now it has got, yeah, I know who it was. And all you've done is make it worse. And so now, we had an approval verbally, and it was taken back. We had a new site inspection again today. They put it on hold again, and I can't tell you when the softening feature will be part of the process. So, you know, last week, or last month, there was some frustration on the board about the softening feature. So I got frustrated, and I asked the board to go ahead. If you're so frustrated, I've been living this. I've been living this for 6 years, trying to get this approved. And so they did. And all it does is put Eagle in a defensive mode, is all it does. So, that being said, I don't know when the softening feature is going to come, but I will say one thing. You know, when I started here, and this is very passionate to me, because when I started here, our residents were bathing their kids in brown water, in iron-filled water. I found a situation to get us out of that. Now, was the township obligated to treat the water? No, it was not, right? All we have to do is serve the water safe. That's all they require. We took it upon ourselves, this board took it upon ourselves to go ahead and get a bond and build the system. So we built the system. The first part of the system was a treating system that took out arsenic, sulfur, all the bad things that are in water. It took it out. We filtered it out, and we started sending it to the residents, which is very good water. Jim, I know, you say it all the time. It's the best water you ever had. So now we come to the next enhancement of the water. By the way, we're not obligated to do, but we did. When I started here, we were about to hook to Great Lakes water. I don't know if y'all remember that. So I asked, how can we get water that has quality of Great Lakes water but keep the asset in our township? And this is what we came up with. Well, when we started out, I don't know if everyone here remembers, we started out with ion softening, which the DEQ turned us down because it was a backwash situation. We couldn't backwash. Went to a couple other ones. We finally came up with a situation. Wasn't a perfect situation, but it was a situation. First one in Michigan, ever. This system we have now in Lyon Township that is totally built is the first one in Michigan. So Eagle has been dragging their feet a little bit because they're just as concerned about a brand new system after Flint and all the things that happened there. They're just as concerned. So it gets frustrating, right? They give us more and more and more. Well, we almost had it. I've been bringing to this board that we almost have it set. We've almost got it. We've almost got it. And now, because we've got involved and somebody has called up and called a bunch of different people, they've pulled it back again. So what I'm saying is, we're going to get this done, but it's very frustrating to me, as long and as hard as I've worked on this, to have it taken out from under me like it was taken out from under me last month. And that's what I'm saying, and I know it was you, Chris, because they told me that. So I'm not going to go on. All I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you, I'm going to keep working hard on this thing. We are this close. Today's site revisit, turned out very well. Again, there's a few more things that now they've come to. We're going to get that taken care of, but I still think it's going to be at least a month now. And we were about a week. So that's all I can say. And we talk about being frustrated. I'm the most frustrated person on this board because I'm telling you, I promised the softening, and I'm working on it. But all you're doing is asking me about it. You get involved, and then it drives it backwards. Very upsetting to me, just so you know.
Yeah, it's disappointing they would take that tactic for, just us trying to help out.
But you gotta talk to Eagle in a nice way. We've been talking to them. We've been talking to them, trying to get them. I don't know what you've done, and I don't know what kind of pressure you put on the backside. And I don't even look at it as them coming against us. It just throws another red flag up to them that they go, wonder why they're concerned. I wonder why, and it just starts the ball rolling again. All I can say is it was disappointing to me because it was very close. And now I don't know where it is. But I'm going to keep working on it. I'm not going to belabor the situation. I want to move on. But please, let me handle this.
All right.
Thank you. Sorry about that, everyone. It's just very frustrating. I've been trying to get this on. Sorry. All right. Any questions? All right. We're going to move on. Unfinished business, we have none. We're going to move on to new business. Aspen Trail Plan Development, AP 2259, preliminary review. Brian?
Thank you, John. This project has come before you several times, but we are at the preliminary review for the Township Board. This is a 78-unit single-family development on the west side of Martindale between Grand River and Pontiac Trail. Mr. Elko is in the crowd this evening, and he is the owner and developer of the project. On this 44 acres, the 78 lots are on average about 70 feet wide, 9,000 square feet. The Planning Commission reviewed the project and held their required public hearing on January 9th. There were several comments from surrounding neighbors regarding, I wouldn't call them concerns, but more questions about stormwater, about the connection to Lamplighter Drive, making sure that that was not going to be a through street and it was just going to be a sidewalk. There are some questions about the paving of Martindale Road and how much the developer is obligated versus what the township has discussed paving in the past. So we went through all those items, and ultimately the Planning Commission recommended approval of the project to the Township Board. We have called back to our review from when the project was originally approved several years ago because the plans are the exact same. We still find that the project is appropriate in density based on our current zoning and the future land use plan. It meets all of our ordinance standards. There are a few outstanding items that can't be taken care of at this point in time. There are developer obligations that have been committed that will be addressed later in the process, but ultimately at this preliminary phase, it's the planner's recommendation to approve the project for preliminary phase. If you choose to take that action tonight, there will be one more meeting for both the Planning Commission and the Township Board. That will be the final phase, and we expect the plans to look exactly as they're presented here because they really are in a final format. So I can take any specific questions that you might have. I know this is a little bit more brief than I normally give on our preliminary review, but this is the what amounts to 9th formal meeting for this project over time, so I think we're familiar with it, at least at the board level.
And again, Brian, you're telling us this is exactly what we passed the last time. Okay.
It is.
Leslie, do you have anything?
No, our review letter is in your packet. It's dated January 26th if you have any questions regarding the engineering.
Okay. Anyone want to have questions for the developer? Does anyone want to?
I don't have any questions. I just want to make sure that the 9 meetings, it's as a result of an expired site plan. Right. So we're not, this isn't being run through the process again and again. For a variety of circumstances, it didn't move ahead in a manner that we had all expected, including the applicant. So that's why that number 9 is.
Thank you for that clarification.
Right.
Does anyone have any questions? Do we want to just talk to the applicant? Go ahead.
Just one reiterating from, I think, was this December, I think was the last time we talked about this, and I mentioned the Pontiac Trail frontage is showing a 5-foot concrete sidewalk instead of the 10-foot asphalt path that it should be.
Okay. Brian?
We can have that addressed on the final site plan that comes before you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make Mr. Elko go through, revising the plans necessarily right now, as long as we understand that that's a thing that should be addressed.
Yeah, thank you. We can make sure that that's addressed before it comes back to the Planning Commission, really.
Good with it?
Yep. John, I just wanted to point out that thank Rick. Calling you Mr. Elko sounds kind of strange. But I know that he has been in this project in the past, very conscientious of the neighbors and the neighboring community, and very receptive to some of the changes that they have requested, and he has kind of kept that in
in mind when he's developing this, and that's one thing that I do appreciate, that you're listening to the neighbors, you're being very conscientious of them, so I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Anyone else? Chris?
Yeah, just a brief question on, Leslie, on your, you had a couple comments on the updated stormwater management systems for Oakland County, and some reasonably strong language in there, but I guess the bottom line is, you're confident that the site, when it gets to engineering, would be able to adhere to the new Oakland County standards?
I am. I actually think that the site plan exceeds them. We are going to require some additional infiltration tests just to make sure that the infiltration basin works properly and we don't have any problems during construction. So we've kind of developed some criteria that will provide to the applicant for them to proceed with the testing as soon as possible.
Okay. And I'll just echo what Lisa said about the neighbors. We did, I receive a lot of communication from people in Cobblestone and, and the one person in Twin Pines, and they've been pretty satisfied with how this is kind of laid out, so it's nice.
And I'll move the approval of AP 22-59 for the Aspen Trails PD, subject to the McKenna Review letter of 2/1/23, the CES letter of 1/26/23, and subject to the revision of the final site plans to reflect the, disparity in the sidewalk widths that were previously mentioned by Trustee Swain.
I'll support. I'll give it to you, Patty.
Okay.
That's in perfect harmony.
All right, motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, move on to library site engineering design proposal. Leslie?
Okay. Get my papers straight here. Okay. So as you're aware, the residents of Lyon Township approved the millage to complete the development of a new library on the township-owned parcel at the northeast corner of 11 Mile and Milford Roads. At the July 2022 board meeting, detailed site and building costs were reviewed, and it's my understanding that the goal is to start construction on the library project in 2024. Based on the anticipated construction timeframe, it is critical to begin the site design and permitting. The widening of Milford Road and the pathway crossing of the Novi Lyon Drain prompts both Road Commission and Eagle floodplain permitting requirements, and those can both be lengthy process. So therefore, I have developed a proposal that has been included in your packet, and it's also been sent to the library board director. The survey, or the scope of work, is really all of the items that were shown in the millage portion of the exhibit. So it includes the widening of Milford Road, the extension of water main to the library site, the extension of off-site sanitary sewer, stormwater drainage, underground detention, parking lot improvements. All of these were estimated at $4.4 million and some change. So our proposal is in accordance with our contract of 5.75%, as well as the topographic survey. I do want to mention one item too. In preparing for the board meeting, I did review the Phase 2 environmental, and I did just want to point out that they are recommending a due care plan, mainly for the park, but that might be, I just wanted to mention that that would not be included in our proposal. That would be a separate item that would be discussed as the project progresses. There were some elevated contaminants near the oil wells. It's not near the site, but it's still something I think that should probably move forward before the library building itself. So I wanted to bring that up, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I do plan on taking this to the library board at the end of February as well.
Okay. Any questions? Go ahead.
Is the topo for the whole parcel or just the library portion of the site?
Well, it's actually, we have a lot of the site already topoed. It's most of this is for Milford Road.
Okay.
And the utilities for water and sewer are actually going to be coming from, well, I still call it Crystal Creek North, but I don't think that's the official name of it, the subdivision on the west side of Milford Road. That's where we would recommend pulling the water and sewer from. So it's all of that off-site area.
Right. Okay. And then similarly, I guess, if this doesn't actually impact this proposal, stop me and we can deal with it later, but just thinking ahead, I understand, we're removing the design work on the park amenities, but are we still going to be kind of planning for mass site grading, anything that, we're going to save money by doing it once as opposed to in pieces?
We didn't really plan it that way. I guess it really depends on the timing of when the board wants to move forward with the park amenities. If it's in the same time frame, then it could be planned that way. But I do believe that there's some funding sources that would be needed and that there may be grant opportunities that are coming up, but there isn't anything out there right this second with the park. So it really just depends on when the board wants to move forward with the park. I didn't include the park because I thought that based on my discussions with the Treasurer Carconi, that we're not sure exactly the layout of the park and might not be ready to move forward with that yet if some things, amenities change.
I just thought you might want to maybe have a little committee for that, to go over the amenities. Sometimes you put things in and then things change. So I thought that you might want to really think about that again and look at the whole site. Maybe you don't want to put in the big one ball down. Maybe you do. Maybe you want to do more pickleball courts. Maybe you want to put basketball courts. Or whatever you guys want to think. So I told Leslie I would hold off on that part because I think that needs more discussion myself, but and to figure that out.
And before the meeting, I was discussing the project with the members of the library board that are here tonight, and they're also in the process of selecting an architect, and some discussions on the site layout might be necessary before we really get into the detailed design, just to make sure that this is the layout everyone's comfortable moving forward with before we're spending, the engineering dollars and architecture of design. And because that upfront time is really minimal compared to when you start really getting into the details and start developing plan sheets, et cetera.
Without getting into the weeds too much, because I know that's not really the purpose of tonight, but you just hit on the question that I had, which was the layout. How did we arrive at this exact configuration?
Well, through meetings with the library.
Okay. I just wonder, it seems like I don't know what would be programmed for the areas between the building and Milford Road, but it seems like, to me, it might make sense to pull it further south and slightly west. Someday if there's ever a desire to expand the library, to the north and to the west, obviously, would be the directions that you'd want to go. Just maybe pull it away from the Scorpions clubhouse just a little bit.
The issue with that is there's a floodplain.
I didn't know how far the floodplain cut in. I know it does.
A lot. Real close to the building.
So this is as far as we can go with this?
I think so. Okay. Unless we want to fill more floodplain.
No,
and
we don't want to do that.
We try to keep it really just to the drive.
Obviously, we can use this as open space. It can be used, people can traverse through it, but I didn't know if there was an opportunity, and I'm not talking moving it 200 feet in any direction, but it just seemed really kind of
far
north. I would have thought, just bring it down a bit, but I understand that that's something that we don't really want to open that can of worms, or we'll be a year and trying to get permits.
Well, and the drive is located so that, based on conceptual review, we don't believe we have to extend the culvert at the Novi Lion Drain, and that's, so the more you move the building south and the drive moves south, the likelihood of widening that culvert, which is a very expensive item, increases. So all of that was kind of reviewed when the members of the board, with the library board, when we were meeting together to talk about layout.
We still have to cross the drain, though, right? We still need the culvert as proposed in your cost estimate to cross the drain?
Yes, but we don't think we have to extend the culvert based on preliminary conversations with the road commission. We'll have to restripe.
Okay, and was the extension of that culvert part of the figure that you have?
No.
Okay, so it's not.
So we
don't get surprise savings, most likely.
No, it always goes the other way.
And also, Sean, even with where the library is now, there's still enough space for at least a 5,000 square foot expansion to the north.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's planned in.
I just always like to put something in a spot where you can add on to it in one direction or the other, so you're not boxed in. So that was kind of why I was hoping to.
Yeah, that's
Right, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so any other questions?
Is there water available?
Anyone? We want to approve this? What are we looking for to approve this?
So John, I know when
Yes.
we originally had talked budget-wise, didn't we approve, I think the maximum expenditure was 2.5 million?
Yep, 2.5
So
million.
what do we do at this point? I mean, we hope that it comes in, this is an estimate, we hope the estimate comes in higher than what the bids look like? I mean, or are we considering a $115,000 amendment?
Right now, aren't we just approving the engineering work?
That's all we're approving. Yeah, just the engineering.
I guess I'm just bringing up, though, as we move ahead, we're looking at a number that exceeds what we had talked about at budget time, and I just wanted to bring that up. I mean, it's really close.
I think we cross that bridge when we get to it.
I see what you're doing. You cross that culvert when we come to it? You missed an opportunity.
Cross that bike path. Okay.
All right, I just,
Sean, I don't think anybody missed any opportunity on that joke.
all right.
And part of that, too, the geotechnical is a budgetary estimate as well, so there might be some savings there, because I know the library itself did soil borings on that parcel already.
Right.
But you need stuff on Milford Road.
I will also say that, I mean, we're not talking about $1 million difference, and I understand this is public money and we made plans, but I also know that there are many things out there these days that cost less over the last 6 or 8 or 12 months, so I'm not surprised that maybe this is pushing the high end, but I just wanted to mention it, so, okay.
No, I agree with you, Sean. 2.5 is what we put in.
As I reread here, trying to look for a number for you, I'm reading it's based on the estimates. So I guess my question is, does the engineering costs change based on what the project actuals are, or is it just
No.
the estimates are this, and if it comes in higher, it's
That's
higher.
what it
If
is.
it's lower, it's lower. But this is what we paid.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So I guess which number are you looking for here for approval?
The authorization of the topographic survey and engineering design and permitting. So those two numbers. And then the geotechnical, the way I've formatted the proposal is we would obtain 3 prices, and I'd present them to the full-time officials for authorization.
Okay. I guess I gotta get a calculator here.
You can't add them numbers up in your head?
No, I'm
I have to get my calculator, too.
Come on,
I guess I
John.
could
Come
just
on,
read them
Chris.
separately.
Click it
All
out.
right, I'll make a motion to approve the CES fees and invoicing for the topographical survey in the amount of $29,626. The engineering design and permitting in the amount of $254,502.22. And the geotechnical budgetary estimate, approximately $43,000, with CES obtaining 3 bids and the approval of the 3 full-time elected officials.
Support.
See, that's how you do
There we
it.
go. I was trying to add them all up first.
Did you get
to
them
a bottom line number? I stopped.
All right, so we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, there you go.
I just wanted to mention to Holly, on the board, who's from the board, I've been working with Carol's office. I've met twice with the agreement, so just an FYI, we'll be,
Oh, the intergovernmental.
yes, yep,
We'll have to
yeah,
bring that back.
yeah, but we're working on that, so I don't want you to think, I've met with her over the phone once and in person now, too, and we talked to Leslie about the things that has to, she's really a smart cookie, that one. So, just so you know, we're moving along with that also.
Okay, we all set? We're going to move on. The AT&T fixed generator addition, this is on the cell tower behind Fire Station 1. They're looking for a special land use, and I know Brian has been working with them. This is totally within inside their lease. So, Brian, you want to go ahead and explain what,
Yes, thank you. So the township's ordinance for wireless communication facilities has a threshold for administrative approvals and when things need to be considered as a special land use. The tower behind us here is already larger than those thresholds in terms of overall size, but they're looking to add a very small area, 8 feet by 16 feet. The Planning Commission held a required public hearing at their last meeting and recommended approval. This additional area is well within the lease space that the township has with American Tower, so there's no need for the township to authorize this in terms of ownership. Everything is in line with what we expect for our special land use criteria. We don't think it's going to provide any impact to adjacent property owners. 3 sides of this is public land, so there's really no concern from our end of things. With the Planning Commission's recommendation for approval and our planning recommendation, we think it's appropriate for the Township Board to approve this project.
Based on the McKenna letter dated February 1st, 2023, and the Planning Commission recommendation, I'll move the approval of AP 22-72.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. We're going to move on to the Dolly Road Water Main Engineering Design Proposal. So, do you want to talk about this, Leslie, what this is and fill the board in?
Yes, this is before you based on inquiries that we received about residents wanting to connect to water main on Dolly Road. So we get a lot of those inquiries. We work with DPW to answer resident concerns or realtors or appraisers, et cetera. So I started looking at this and I'm like, these parcels were part of the Southwest Water Main SAD that was completed in, I believe, 2006, yet the water main was not designed or constructed to go down Dolly Road. So they, at least, I think 6, or if not 8 of the parcels don't have access to it. So that is why it's before you tonight, to really complete that infrastructure. So we based we completed a cost estimate for the project, which is estimated at $392,590. So the proposal would include the design and permitting of a public water main from Griswold Road to the east endpoint, essentially, of Dolly, which is a cul-de-sac. And so the total for this is $31,000 for the topographic survey and engineering design, permitting, and bidding for your consideration.
Okay. So that's the scoop. Open for questions.
Is there already sewer along there?
Yes.
So just, we put that in, but not the water?
There were 2 separate special assessment districts and like 2 sets of plans and bidding.
Just making sure we're not missing one now. So.
No, that one's there.
Anybody have any questions about this, or should we go ahead and move forward and get this main in?
A lot of questions, but I think we should go ahead.
I have questions too, but...
Not the same engineer.
Yeah. We have a far better engineer now.
Yes, we do.
That's why we're moving ahead with it. So I'm just glad we're doing it now because it would be appropriate.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
I have my little paper here.
You're looking for the engineering right now, right? You're just looking for the engineering
Yes,
dollars?
yes.
Okay.
The 40, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's what, 30,000? I'll make a motion to approve the proposal from CES for the Dolly Road water main design for the topo survey, not to exceed 4,500, and the engineering design, permitting and bidding not to exceed 26,500.
I'll support that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, this next one, I know that the attorneys in the building department have been working on this dangerous building on Napier Road. And Kristen, I don't know if you want to, you probably don't know, I know it was Carol. But does everyone know about this building on Napier Road that's dangerous and needs to be torn down? And I think as we sit right now, the gentleman has said he's going to tear it down. But I think we need to make a motion here on the board to tear it down if he doesn't. And I think that's what we're looking at, this dangerous building. We just have to make sure that we're on board to take it down if he doesn't come through with taking it down. And that's what this is all about.
Now, in the event that we have to do that,
Yes.
it becomes a lien against the property,
It
right? So
does.
it's not really we're out the money.
Rolls on his tax.
That's exactly right.
So that's all this is about? Just to make a motion to know that the board's on with taking it down if we have to?
Well,
I do believe he's going to, though. I'll be honest. He's been talking to us. I think he's going to do it. So,
Do we have a date as to when he would have to do it, if he is going to do it? When it would have to be done?
we do, and I don't remember when it was. Do you remember when that
April
was?
1st, it looks
Well,
like.
we've just gotten the letters of approval to release from consumers and DTE, so their next step
Yeah, there's
is
some changes.
to hire a contractor, and they said they were staying on top. So I don't see them not doing it at this point.
Yeah, the utilities are what typically take the longest.
Yeah.
What's that?
The utilities getting turned
Yeah,
off is typically what
getting
takes the
somebody out there.
longest.
And they were disconnected anyway. I mean, there's been no power coming there. They just had to go and approve it.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Well, I'm just wondering, I know that the letter says no later than April 1st, but does that mean April 2nd, the township is there to do it? Or like, are we giving a grace period, or does that even
Yeah,
have to be addressed?
we're not going to jump right on it because we'd have to arrange things. You know, we'd start the process, or we'd hire someone that would go in and take it down. I do believe that he's going to, though. I mean, he's been calling us. You know, at the beginning, he wouldn't contact us. We had a hard time talking to him. Once it went through the legal process, he started talking to us, and now he's the one that told us that the gas has been disconnected now. The electric's been disconnected, and he's on top of it. So I believe he's going to, but we make this motion here, and this will just affirm that it'll come down, one way or the other.
John, we need to make a motion to confirm the stipulated order confirming findings in order of dangerous building hearing officer dated January 9th, 2023. Is that correct?
I like that.
All right, that's my motion.
I'll support that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. We'll get that down. All right, the next one is kind of a happy thing, and this is probably Patty's shine, and this is, Leslie's been working
Yeah.
hard on it. This is consideration to
Yeah.
buy
It's a real good deal.
the trail.
Yeah.
I think it is. I'm excited about it, and I appreciate Leslie helping me with this. But the only thing is, we have a little discrepancy from the parcels that they gave us, and Leslie went over them. So you want to just tell them I think it's like,
When we've applied for this, we filled out the application for 39.31 acres based on property gateway information, and I rechecked it, all of this went to DNR, and then when they sent everything back, the agreement references 39.31, but if you add up their records, they're missing 3 acres. So we've been emailing back and forth, and I resent him everything last Thursday. I did call the representative DNR today, but did not get a call back today to see if this was resolved. However, if it is based on the 39 acres, the 70s, I mean, my recommendation, this is a pretty good deal for the township. It's just, we're missing 3 acres currently.
Do we feel like we need to add a pro rata number of dollars based on this?
well, they
Because
gave
we're-
it. It's
They
on
said
the
this is it.
application. It says it's 39.
Yeah, right on this it says
And it
it's
says 77. So we're thinking, since it says 39, this is what they sent us, I think we're covered. But if it's a few $1,000s more, I could actually, John could sign that part of it,
It's
but
still very cheap.
yes.
Very cheap.
Do we
It's a
think-
good
Plus
year.
they're, Nikki moved to a different department, and she was wonderful with the DNR. And now we have a new representative, and it's a he.
That's handling this,
Yes,
yes.
and he is wonderful. He responds fast, and so he said he'll check it out for us, just to make sure. And we sent him all the stuff, so anyways, I would like to buy our trail.
Is that a motion?
And
I think, Patty, this is a motion for you.
Sounded like a motion.
Well, plus, I wanted to know, I did have a question. Do you want to pay this out of our ARPA funds? Or just out of, I'm just, because if we do, you know, I have to book that.
Are
If
we
you
allowed
don't-
to
Yeah,
use
we
that
can-
for this?
We could
I
buy.
think you can,
Pretty much
You
in
can
outright
do
the
it
general
for
fund.
anything.
Helicopter.
Well, we have,
Okay.
we still have $875,000.
Yeah.
So I just thought this might be a good thing to take out of our ARPA funds.
I
but
told Les
it-
we buy him a helicopter.
But it's,
I do want one.
hey, you didn't ask me
It's
for
a
that.
small
I
one.
want the
It'd be a very
dog.
cheap helicopter.
So no helicopter till that dog comes. So anyways, before, if the board would agree to that, I'd like to make that my motion so that that's another thing that we could take off of.
I would support that because
Okay.
it's a one-time
Well,
thing. We're not.
It benefits a lot of people. A lot of people use the trail, so.
And we take care of it.
So
why
I'm
not?
making a motion.
Yes.
Okay, done. Out of the ARPA funds.
Okay, you made a motion?
Yep. To
Everyone
purchase.
can- Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Awesome. Okay, we're going to move on. Consideration approval of the amended transportation contract for PEX People's Express, which will revise the charges and extend the contract for 1 year. Now, Brian has been working on this for me, and I will tell you, he is doing an amazing job because he's part of this whole other situation going on. So I'm going to let Brian kind of explain this whole thing to you.
Sure. Well, so I'll start by saying the contract is the easy part. This is simply a request from People's Express or PEX to update their fees that our residents will be charged on a per-ride basis. This is in line with all of the other communities in southwest Oakland County that PEX serves. And so those fees, I believe, are in your packet. They are pretty reasonable. They're up slightly from our previous contract with PEX, but not out of the line of what is normal when we review our other surrounding communities. So that's the easy part. One of the questions that we've been asked along the way is whether or not PEX will continue to serve or will be able to continue to utilize PEX as our service provider of choice with the new transit millage. And we've had conversations with the county executives in coordination with all of our other communities around Milford Township, the village, City of South Lyon, City of Wixom, Wolverine Lake. So we are talking to them collectively. We're talking to the county collectively to, one, get a seat at the table as a Southwest, calling it a consortium at this time. We'll probably team up with them. And one of the things that does for us moving forward is it allows us to negotiate with People's Express collectively, more rides, theoretically more coverage, more places that our residents can go, more bargaining power when it comes to maybe adding service to the weekends or extending hours at the beginning or end of the day. So there's a lot of benefits moving forward, but that's kind of looking ahead. In terms of the contract itself, we would recommend approval of this. One thing that Carol has been doing is regularly working with People's Express to go back and forth. They had presented a completely revised contract that was open-ended and had an escalating fee structure on an annual basis, things like that. Carol pushed back, so this is literally a one-year contract for these rates, and when they come back again, or when it comes due next year, we will renegotiate with People's Express. So,
Brian, I'm sure you're familiar with WODA, which is just north of us, and I am somewhat familiar with it, and they did just what you're talking about. They grouped together a handful of municipalities, and they actually bought vehicles and hired drivers, and they're actually able to pool their resources and do it more efficiently, less expensively than they ever done it before. And by incorporating the way they did, they were also able to get a seat at the table with the county and they were able to, I'm going to say, protect a good share of the group, the WODA group's residents' tax dollars that would otherwise go to a transportation authority that has no plan, I'll say, that was passed without a plan, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. And it's, what, $66 million a year, and there's no plan for it, which is a shame, and I am astounded by it. But the positive thing that WODA did was band together and keep some of those dollars from going to a huge pot of money with no plan that someone will spend undoubtedly in another community outside of the WODA area and not in WODA. Because if we all think that these dollars are going to come to Lyon Township and this side of the county, we're sadly mistaken, because we're all the ones who voted against this cash grab, and it's all going to go east of here where everybody else lives. So, the population doesn't live here, they live east of here, so we got outvoted and our dollars will go that way. So if we could keep our dollars here, which I think is kind of what you're talking about, that would be great.
It is. It's giving us a bit of a bargaining chip, and to your point, Sean, right now, based on the consortium's monies, we're at about $1 of the tax collected would stay here and $4 would go to the pot. And so the hope of combining our efforts is, hey, can we get a little bit of that? Maybe it's 2 out of those 5, maybe it's 3 out of those 5, whatever that ends up being. But having all 7 or 8 of us together is better than Lyon Township going separately, than Wolverine Lake, than Milford. And
$1 out of 4, or out of 5, I should say, is horrible, but it's better than 0. And that's what most everybody else who doesn't have something to protect them is having happen. So anyway, I think having this transportation system in place for our residents who can't get around otherwise is pretty important. So I'm certainly supportive of it, and I'm glad we're doing it. So thank you for your work.
Brian has really worked hard on this for me. He's stepped in for me when I haven't had the time. He's done an amazing job. He fills me in completely, and it's wonderful having him do that for me.
Anybody complain about those signs? Remember the sign I sent you?
nobody complained to me on them.
And that's,
None of the other communities got one.
I think
so. I think
so
it was just kind of a one-off. Somebody maybe took it from elsewhere in the county and brought it out our direction. I don't know.
Interesting.
Very odd.
Well, I definitely appreciate all the work on that. I mean, I have some friends in our community who are dependent on some of this ride service, and my parents don't live in this community, but they are dependent on that as well. So anything that we can do to provide that for our residents, I say get a big enough group together and kind of have, like you said, have a seat at the table to keep that money for our residents.
So I think the county might buy everybody a Cadillac with all this money that they're collecting. Maybe that could be their plan. Yeah, or a Lincoln. Maybe it's a good American car.
That's good.
Better than the plan that's now.
So, yeah, because the amount being captured is actually more than what we get for our general operating millage. So, to put it in perspective.
Crazy.
I guess you kind of answered my question is why, I guess we do still need this, even though that passed. So, I'm supportive of it. And
well, we need them because
we're not
they're not
going
to come, right?
Yeah.
So,
right, we're likely not going to get stops as part of SMART's operations or other things like that. So we've got to look out for our own, and by continuing this relationship with People's Express, it gives us an opportunity to decide what we want and give some direct input into what we want moving forward.
okay. Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the amended transportation contract for People's Express, which will revise the charges and extend the contract for 1 year.
Okay. Anyone support that?
Support.
All right, we have a motion and a support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Got some transportation. That's good. All right, we're going to move on. These next two items are really, I can't tell you, being working day to day with the firms we have here in the township, the consultants that we use, from Leslie, from Carol's firm, Rosati, from McKenna, are some of the absolute best firms I could ever ask for. These people will sit here and they'll come into our offices and they'll work in an office right next to mine Carol has an office, she'll come in. All of Carol's attorneys are the most amazing attorneys we have, all the people that work for Leslie. And I hope that this board will look at the request for Civil Engineering Solutions contract extension and the fee increase as a positive for our township. And I'm telling you, I'm so behind this because Leslie works all the time for us, and half the time, I don't even believe she charges us for stuff. I actually think she comes in, and I think she does the job without even charging us. I mean, she'll sit here all day long. I don't see anything on her billings for sitting here all day long, answering the phones, talking to our people. They do, all of our firms do so many things behind the scene that unfortunately this board doesn't see. They're amazing. They're amazing. All of our consultants are amazing, from McKenna to Rosati to CES. And I am so supportive of this, and I hope everyone can get behind this. If you had a chance to look at the request for civil engineering, she's here to answer any questions, and it's open for discussion.
I would just like to say thank you for for adding in the little sheet of comparisons to other firms' rates. I appreciated that. It alleviates some of my concerns that I have in contract renewals in general of just making sure we're still getting a good deal, and it looks like we are. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Robert. We are.
Make a motion to approve the requested contract extension for a 3-year period along with a 3% increase as has been presented for CES.
I'll support that.
Okay, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. And we're going to move on to the same thing. You know, I want to start this one out by saying Carol asked me not to put this on this agenda because she wasn't going to be here. She was going to be on vacation. And I told her, I said, I will be your advocate, Carol, because you are, since Carol firm has come to our township, it has been the best it's ever been. She guards us. She is, her whole firm, I can't say enough about them. I just love that firm, and they love our township. As even Leslie loves our township, I know that, and so does Brian. And we are so lucky here, and I can't say it enough. And believe me, these people are all underpaid. They're not overpaid, by no means. We have some of the best attorneys in Michigan or probably the United States, and we're paying them what we do. It's amazing to me that they actually work for that. So.
And they have not had a rate increase since September of 2017, in addition to what you said, which is why I'm going to make a motion that we approve the request for hourly rate increase from $175 to $190 an hour as has been presented.
I'll support.
And that would be, of course, for Rosati, Schultz, Jopik, and it's yes.
Keep going, John. Keep going. All right, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you guys so much. You don't know what that means to me. All right, we're going to move on to the request to purchase 2 Lucas chest compression systems. This is a no-brainer, or a no-chester, I should say.
Yeah, you can sit down. Do we really want to? I guess the public probably wants to know about these great things.
These things are amazing.
You approved the purchase a couple years back of 2 Lucas 3 CPR devices, and they have made a significant change in our community. We have one on each rescue. We're looking to just add one to each engine so that we don't have any gap in providing that delivery. And the cost went up in February 1st, but we kind of locked in with a purchase order, so they're keeping the $3,000 off. So it's a total request of $43,615.20 coming from the fire equipment line item.
Chief, didn't we have someone recently saved by one of these devices?
We have.
Wasn't this used for a gentleman maybe a year or so ago? We had a presentation for a
Yeah,
firefighter.
we've had a few life-saving awards just in 22 this past year that.
And this device played a role in that.
That plays, a significant role, and it's so much better than just traditional CPR and other devices that are out there.
So
And I agree, it's a no-brainer. But
so there will be one each on 2 apparatus at each station.
Yeah, so two at each station, 1 ambulance each and 1 engine each at each station. Total of 4.
I'll make a motion for the fire department to purchase 2 Lucas 3 chest compression systems as outlined by our fire chief.
I'll support that.
All right, we have motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's
Thank you
get
very
on.
much.
All right, we're going to move on. I'm going to bring Lieutenant up to talk about this. This is the consideration approval of the First Amendment and to authorize the supervisor and the clerk to execute the agreement.
Yes, correct. The First Amendment is for the addition of the third SRO for the middle schools. That would be Deputy Ostrand's position. I believe the board previously voted on it. This paperwork just makes it official with the contract with Oakland County.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2022 to 2024 Law Enforcement Services Amendment Number 1.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, let's just stand you right up there and move on to
Thank
the
you.
agreement number 2.
All right, amendment number 2, this would be for the 2 new positions that we spoke about during the budget meeting, the patrol deputy for day shift and the second detective for day shift, bringing our total personnel number to 25 people. Any questions?
Okay, everyone?
I'll make a motion to approve the Oakland County Sheriff's Office 2022-2024 Law Enforcement Services Agreement Number 2 with Charter Township of Lyon, and to authorize the supervisor and clerk to execute the agreement.
Support.
Okay, we have motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move
John?
on. Yep.
Thank you for your continued support.
I think Lisa did an excellent job of making that motion, and I did not include in my motion the authorization for you and Michelle to sign the agreement on behalf of the board, so I don't know if
Do we need to amend that?
Probably should.
so. If I would be permitted to do so, I would like to make a motion to clarify item new business K, which is the Oakland County Sheriff's Office 2022 to 2024 Law Enforcement Services Amendment Number 1, which was previously, motion was made to approve that amendment. I wanted to simply add to that motion that we allow, by voting for this, the supervisor and the clerk to sign the agreement.
I'll amend my support.
Okay, we have an amendment to the support of the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, you made her legal.
Thank you.
All right, I guess that's good. All right, we're going to move on to the assessor for the township, the consideration, the approval, the interlocal agreement between Lyon Township and the Oakland County to approve the designated assessor.
Which is Michael Lonemeyer. Yes, so that's all this is, and they needed a consensus of the people that use the Oakland County, but I would still like to get it on and send ours in that we're supporting it.
And just out of curiosity, any reason for the change in personnel, or is it just what they say? What the county's...
I think that
I was just curious.
maybe he decided to leave.
Okay.
I think you hit him. And that's all I'm going to say. So,
Yeah, change in personnel.
yeah, that's all.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement between the Charter Township of Lyon and Oakland County, approving the designated assessor and authorizing the supervisor and clerk to execute the agreement.
He already knows that.
Okay, good. Any support
I'll
there?
support that. Oh, Lisa?
No, I'll let Patty support that.
Okay.
That's your thing.
Oh, yeah, true. I should have put it.
All right, well, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? All right, we're going to move on to our addition to the agenda, and this is to consideration to raise the building inspector's pay rate from $35 an inspection to $45.
I'll support that motion.
Okay?
I'll second it.
You get 2 seconds here.
I thought
Oh,
were
you
making a
did?
motion,
I didn't
John.
hear that.
I'll make the motion.
So you can second it.
Oh, I don't care. I thought you made it. I didn't hear it.
No, he read it out, and I said, well, it's not
Yeah.
a motion.
Oh,
So I made the motion.
We already discussed it at budget time,
Yeah.
and through it, so it's really just a formality.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, awesome agenda, guys. Thank you for getting through that. Does anyone else have anything to add to our meeting tonight?
That was efficient.
That was efficient.
Very.
Anyone? All right, seeing none, all new business is finished. I consider this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.